Hey, it's Peter Tui here from Wandsworth Power Yoga, and I'm going to show you a beginner's practice for the morning. So when you get up out of bed in the morning, this is what you can do. Okay, literally have your yoga mat on the floor. My bed is here, and my heater is here. So if it's cold, you're going to be warm. But basically, sit down cross-legged and untuck your bum so that you're nice and grounded into the floor. Remember, you're very sleepy. It's the best thing to do before you brush your teeth. Get out of bed, get on the floor, and then reach your hands forwards. So taking them all the way forwards, pressing down. Deep breathing. Inhale. Exhale. Breathe in and breathe out. Walk your hands back up. Take your hands behind your hips, press them into the floor, and then stretch out the fronts of the arms. You can lift your bum off the floor here. You can roll forwards onto your knees. If you want, you can extend your head back, stretch out the head, but be gentle with the neck. Don't flop it back. And you take your legs out and cross them the opposite way. Again, reset yourself. And then take your hands forward. Take 3 deep breaths here. One more. And then walk your hands back again. This time you're going to take your hands facing the opposite way behind you. So you're going to stretch out the back of the arms. Again, press the heel of the hand into the floor and then lift up through the chest. So you want to pull your tummy in, pull your tummy right in and lift up through the chest, bringing your shoulders stretching across the chest and then coming into the knees. And it's a really strong stretch across the backs of the arms now into the triceps, and then bring yourself back down to the floor. From here, just take your hands to the front of the mat and step your feet back. I'm going to stay on the floor for this one. I'll do a couple of different ones where we're going straight into downward facing dog. But for the 4 limb pose here, with your hands under your wrists, under your shoulders, your knees under your hips, we're just going to neutralize the spine. So don't have your head hanging down. And don't be looking up, okay? You want to have a nice neutral spine. And then just start to breathe in as you lift your chest up. Breathing in and sending your tailbone back. So you're dipping your lower back, creating an arch. And as you exhale, you're pulling everything in, tucking your chin into your chest and tucking your tailbone under so your crotch is coming towards your face. Breathing in, coming back up. And exhale through. Breathe in, lift up. And exhale through. So it's the magic number 3. We're going to tuck the toes under here. Reach back into a child's pose preparation position. And then lift the knees off the floor, coming up into downward facing dog. Just to show you that again, when you're coming back down out of downward dog, you can bring your knees to the floor with your shoulders away from the floor. A lot of people come into downward dog with the shoulders over the wrists, and then they bring their bum up in the air, and that's a really hard pose to hold. And I see a lot of people getting sore necks and sore shoulders, and it's not where we're at. Downward dog comes from here, so when you're on the floor, you're looking towards your knees. You keep looking towards your knees, and you bring your bum up in the air. So you now stay in a nice upside down V. From here though, in the morning, start walking your dog out. So you're stretching one leg and then the other. Do 3 little on each side. And then depending on your practice, you can either just stay here in your down dog, or you can take your feet together and bring your right leg straight up in the air. Bend the knee and open out the hip. And then bring it back to center. Still holding your down dog if you're just holding down dog. Otherwise, following this simple stretch. Up and then open. And then from here, you're going to walk your feet up to the front of the mat. And again, depending on your flexibility, you're going to have your position here with the knees soft, with the head down. It could be down here, or you could have your hands all the way down, pressing your tummy and your thighs together. Whichever way you're doing it, just relax into it. And then at some point, take hands to elbows and just rock. And what this is doing is it's stretching out the sides of the hips. Relax down and roll up nice and slowly. And when you get to the top of the roll, bring your arms up and take it back down to the floor. Inhale to a halfway lift. And then exhale, take your hands to the floor and step your feet back into your downward dog. Take your shoulders over your wrists and drop your bum in between your shoulders and knees. For a modified pose, you can drop your knees to the floor, but don't have your bum sticking out. Have your tailbone tucked under, so you're squeezing your bum here. And then gradually bend your elbows and bring yourself down to the floor. Keep the elbows tight into the sides of the body. Chest comes down, chin comes down. Keep your bum arched. And then from here, release your feet and draw yourself forwards and up. Keep the shoulders back and down. And then bring yourself through your range of motion back up into your downward facing dog. Now you can repeat this 3 times. I'm going to go through it fairly quickly, so 2 more coming. I'm going to look between the hands, step or float the feet to the front of the mat, breathe in, halfway lift. Exhale, forward bend, and then rise and shine all the way up. Exhale all the way back down again. Inhale, halfway lift. And then exhale, step it back to your high, down to low plank. Breathe in, upward facing dog this time, rolling over the toes. And exhaling back, downward facing dog. Once more, step or float to the front of the mat. Breathe in, halfway lift. Forward bend as you exhale. Rise and shine all the way up. Exhale all the way down. Inhale halfway. Exhale, take your hands down, step your feet back, high to low plank. Breathe in, upward facing. And exhale back, downward facing. Take 3 deep breaths in your down dog. Spread your fingers, press your hands into the floor, but not your wrists. And relax your shoulders away from your ears. And take the feet together again. Bring the right foot straight up in the air. Take a deep breath in. And then exhale, step it up to the front of the mat. Set yourself up here with both hands on either side of your toes. So your right foot is at the front of the mat. Your hands are on either side of your right foot. And then from here we're going to keep that right shin in the same vertical position as your right arm. And just lift your fingers off the floor just ever so slightly. And then reach your chest forwards. Pull your tummy in and up. Just hanging your arms down here. And then from here, take your hands to hips and lift up into standing. So you're in crescent lunge now. Make sure that your left hip flexor is stretching and that you're not crunching into your lower back. So you can take your hands to either side of your tummy and just level it up. You're pulling it in nice and vertical. Keep your knee forward over your ankle. Not further forward, but just over. And then bring your arms up. Drop the shoulders down. From here, drop your left ankle, your left heel to the floor. You're now in standard warrior 1.
So keep that back leg straight, flex at the hip, keep the left hip forward, the right hip back. Keep your tummy pulled in. These are fire-inducing poses. From here we're going to open out into Warrior Two. So you take your right hand forward, your left hand back. A couple of common mistakes here are that when you go from your forward to your sideways, the knee turns in. So if you didn't notice that, just come back into your one and exhale into your two, keeping that knee locked into place. You'll immediately feel it across the groin. From the groin, you're then going to reach the whole chest up, lift it up and reach it back. Looking up over your right fingers, your left hand then coming down behind your back. So reaching up and back, keep that right knee out. And then from here, cartwheel down to the floor. High plank, down to low plank. Breathe in, upward facing. And back into downward facing. Take the left leg straight up in the air. And then step it up to the front of the mat. Reset yourself. So your fingers and toes are all in a line. Lift your fingers off the floor. Pull your tummy in and up and stretch out and flex that right leg behind you. So your tummy's not resting on the leg, it's off the leg. The weight coming forward. Take your hands to your hips and lift up. So there's very little change in height here. So from down here with the knee nice and bent, you're then coming up into your warrior crescent lunge pose. Now take your hands up and then flatten out that right heel to the floor. Take your hands up into Warrior One to start off with. Keeping that right hip forward, the left hip back. And then open out into Warrior Two. So feeling the stretch across the groin. Keep your tailbone tucked under. Don't have your bum sticking out. Tuck it under. Then reach up for your reverse warrior. And then take your hand behind your back. Carry your hands down to the floor. High plank. Down to low plank. Breathe in, upward facing dog. And exhale back, downward facing dog. If you need, you can take your knees to the floor and bring your bum down on your heels for child's pose. Then take your hands beside your knees, lift yourself up. You should be feeling nice and awake now. Your heart getting into a faster, stronger rhythm. From here, you just literally swing your legs around to the front. Would recommend doing 1 or 2 yoga poses after this. You can build up as you go. The one I'm going to do for today is the forward bend. So we'll take the reverse tabletop into a forward bend. So reverse tabletop, just take your fingers facing forward beside your hips. Take your feet flat to the floor and then reverse the tabletop. Lift yourself up. Push your shoulders away from the floor. And then drop your bum between your hands. Lift. And then drop down. Take your feet together, point your toes, bring your arms up. And then exhale, forward bend. Breathe in, 3 breaths. And then come back up. Throw yourself down onto the floor. You might want to set your alarm for this piece because there might be risk of falling asleep. But generally speaking, about 1 minute to 3 minutes. Minimum 5 to 10 minutes if you have time. Keeping it awake. Breathing in Shavasana. If you find that you do tend to fall asleep, you can take your elbow, press it into the floor and lift your hand off the floor, and also tuck your first finger into your thumb to create a pinch. And then just focus on relaxing the forehead, the neck, shoulders, the tummy, hips, legs. When you've done as many minutes as you'd like to, gently start to move your fingers and your toes. And then a little bit more movement, so the head turns from side to side, flexing the feet, rolling the ankles and the wrists, and then bring your arms up over your head, reaching up for a full body stretch. And then pull your knees into your chest and roll over to the right hand side. So this is going to be the left hand side for you guys because you're looking at reverse, but this is my right hand side. And then from here, just gently push yourself up into a cross-legged sitting position and keep your eyes closed. Perfect time now to do your meditation. If you're doing a meditation, find a mudra. If you pray, it's a good time to do your prayers. Otherwise, just with a grateful heart, saying thank you to yourself for giving you this peace and tranquility and well-being at the beginning of your day. Take your thumb knuckles to your brow center, press gently against it, and together we say Namaste. Thank you guys. So this has been Peter Toohey from Wandsworth Power Yoga. Going to do a lot more of these little video tips. Hopefully you'll get some practice from them, and of course come down to classes, wandsworthpoweryoga.com, or give me a call on 077 20 32 5421. Thank you.